On January 5th, DICE dropped a little bit of news on the Battlefield.com website where they talked about the road ahead for Battlefield 1. In fact, that's the title of the post. And this post is really about the upcoming improvements and updates and things that DICE is going to be doing. Now, if you've been paying attention to other YouTubers and to the news on the website, you'll already know that there's an expansion pack coming out in March called They Shall Not Pass, focused on the French army. There's some pretty cool concept art in here, and there's some links to some additional art, but it looks like there's going to be a lot of trench warfare going on. There's these burning forests, there's all kinds of just chaos in this artwork, this underground tunnel. It should be a pretty darn killer expansion pack, and possibly might even be bringing us a new behemoth. They have hinted at a new behemoth in previous posts where they talk about something large looming around the corner, and they kind of hint towards an excessively large tank in that. But to me, the real news in this post was not the continued information, or really no new information, just the continued talking about They Shall Not Pass. But the fact that DICE is talking about a February patch, that's what really got me interested in the news that they dropped. They don't really hint at what is going to be in that patch, but I've heard a lot of other people talking about the server rental program, which frankly I don't really care about. So I wanted to put in my 2 cents though, and suggest some of the things that I would like to see in the February 2017 patch. Now, I think there's a lot of opportunity for bug fixes and general improvements of the overall, stability of the game. Things like the quit button taking forever when you're in between games. I mean, at least the quit button works now, but it still does take a long time when you're in between games versus when you're in the middle of a game. So that's something that I would like to see fixed for sure. But more importantly to me, I'd like to see some changes to some of the weapons, and specifically to the Martini-Henry. I mean, previously the Martini-Henry was an incredible challenge, but it was kind of overplayed and it was kind of overpowered. I'm not necessarily suggesting that DICE roll back the nerfing of it. I think the adjustments that they made to the Martini-Henry are okay in terms of balance of hit and the hit markers that you get, but what I would like to see is some other way of bringing it back up just a little bit. Perhaps they could reduce the reload time, or give you some extra ammo, or find some other way to bring the Martini-Henry just a little closer to what it was previously, not necessarily in terms of damage, but in terms of overall usability and power that it provided in the game. Now, I have been playing with the Gewehr M95 and the Gewehr 98 more recently, and I've been doing pretty well with those, as you've seen in the gameplay, and I'm having a lot of fun with that, but I really do want to get back to playing the Martini-Henry. It was just a very enjoyable experience. On the subject of scouts, I'd also like to see some additional work done on how scouts can really participate in the points and objectives. I know the goal is to PTFO, to play the freaking objective, but it's really hard to do that as a scout. You tend to sit way off in the distance, or even just at the edge of combat, at the edge of the objectives to take people down, and it makes it really difficult for a scout, a good scout, to get a lot of points in the game and to end up on top. Yeah, the exceptional players out there will do it anyways, but in my experience, I can have 20, 25 kills with, 10, 15 deaths, and still be in the bottom half of the score for that particular round. And I would like to see DICE introduce some way for the scout, as well as the medic really, to have some additional points generated so that we can move up the scoreboard in a way that supports the objective better. Specifically with the scout, maybe there's something to do with spotting. If we spot somebody, if we spot flare, or just use the spotting mechanic in general, within a given distance of an objective, whether it's within the capture area or in war pigeons, just within a certain distance or something, if we do some spotting and we get some spot assists, more than 25 points maybe 50 points, maybe 100 points if it's like right on the objective and we can get that spot assist, there really should be some way for a scout or a medic to get some additional points. Medics, yeah, they can get some heals and they can get some good scores out of that, but again, I think there should be some additional points for medics in getting score that is related to getting other people onto the actual objective. Because frankly, right now, the game is pretty well unbalanced, where assault players are largely going to be the ones getting the points, or, you know, support players as well, but even the support players are going to have a more difficult time because they can't quite win all of the face-to-face engagements with the rifles and the machine guns that the support players are given. Now, I know that's probably going to be difficult to do. There's probably some real challenge in balancing the game even more when it comes to playing the objective, but I think DICE could do a better job of making the medic and the scout especially more viable in terms of options for playing the objective. I'd really like to see that. In addition to all of this, I'd like to see some changes to the way that progression happens in the game, including the medal system. Right now, I do tend to play a lot of medals, but from what I remember and what I've heard about Battlefield 4, the way that awards and medals and patches and things worked in Battlefield 4 was a lot more rewarding. Right now, only having a single medal that you can work towards, okay, sure, I can kind of understand that idea, but it doesn't create the most engaging medal system around. And then there's the progression system on top of that. Well, frankly, there is no progression system. Once you get to rank 2 or 3, you can unlock most things, and then you get to rank 10 and you unlock that one last weapon, and then that's it. Now, with They Shall Not Pass coming up, and this February patch as well, I think DICE has a lot of opportunity to expand the progression system, to give us levels in these classes beyond level 10. I mean, if you look at your character sheet inside of the game, you'll see if you hit level 10 that it has that little bar going from 10 to 11, but it never makes any progress. Now, perhaps this is DICE saying, okay, we're going to add some additional levels for these classes. And I'd like to see that, but I would like to see it done in a way that gives us the ability to actually make progress. Whether we unlock skins for weapons or certain mods for weapons or whatever it is, I want a better progression system. Because right now, even as a mediocre to average player, I feel like the game doesn't go very far beyond the first 10 levels. It's kind of like, okay, you hit these and then you can improve your KD ratio and your PTFO play, but after that, you're kind of just stuck. I think there's still room for a lot of improvement on that front, and I would like to see DICE do something about the progression system. Lastly, and I think importantly here, I'd like to see DICE change the way the battle packs work. Now, I do have premium, and I do enjoy getting the legendary items out of the battle packs every couple of weeks, however often it happens during a given month. But I would like to see an easier way to work toward getting battle packs, to get those weekly skins for the weapons as well as the vehicles. Beyond just paying for it flat out, I'm really not interested in spending money, especially when I see all these YouTube videos talking about how much of a waste of money it has really been. What I would like to see is something I've heard a few other people talk about, where DICE maybe awards scrap to people that get on the leaderboard. At the end of the round, when you see the MVP and you see the best scout score and most flags captured and all that, I would like to see some scrap awarded to those people so that they can work toward getting some additional battle packs in a given time period. It would make the battle packs a little more of a progression system, honestly. Like, hey, I worked really hard this week and I got all these battle packs, that's great. Instead of, hey, I worked really hard this week and I didn't get any more battle packs than usual than the next random player because it was all completely random. So there's a lot of opportunity here. I would really like to see some of these changes make it into the game. So DICE, please, if you're out there, if you're listening, and I know you are because you're constantly listening to the community, take some of these ideas into account. Give us a little hint on what's coming up in the February patch before it actually comes out. I'd really like to see what's going on before it actually gets here so that we can start planning for what's going to happen in the near future. Thanks for watching this video. If you agree with my ideas, if you have suggestions of your own, do drop some comments, drop some love below, hit that thumbs up button, definitely subscribe to the channel, and hopefully as DICE gets closer to the February patch, we'll get a little more information and I'll be able to update you with a little bit more from what they tell us. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.
Enemy medic!
We have lost objective Charlie.